This is not a render, this is a neighborhood, a real one with real streets, real mailboxes, real people sleeping in real beds tonight. And every single one of the houses was built by a robot. If you are new here, I'm Varnit. I work in AI implementation in construction industry, which basically means I spend my days watching this industry slowly figure out what to do with the tools we keep being told will change our lives. And honestly, most of the time, the change is small. A new dashboard, a better report, a workflow that saves someone's 20 minutes. But every once in a while, you come across something where the change is just not small. About 30 miles north of Austin, in a town called Georgetown, Texas, there is a community called Wolf Ranch. From the road, it looks like any other Texas suburb. New houses, new driveways, new lawns still figuring out what they want to be. But if you walk closer, really close, you start to notice something off. The walls aren't smooth, they have lines on them, hundreds of them, stacked perfectly like the pages of a book pressed sideways. That's not stucco, that's not paint, that's the actual structural wall of the house. And every one of those lines is a single pass of a 3D printer. Wolf Ranch was first announced back in October of 2021. Ground broke a year later in November 2022. The first model home opened to the public in the summer of 2023, and as of early 2025, it's done. It's the result of three groups coming together that, honestly, don't usually end up in the same room. First, there is Icon. They are a construction technology company based in Austin. They build the robots, they make the material, they are the engine. Second, there is Lennar, one of the largest home builders in the United States. They are the developers, the financing, the permits, the buyers. And third, and this is the part I didn't expect when I first read about the project, there's BIG, Bjarke Ingels Group, the Danish architecture firm, the same firm behind the Lego house, the Via 57 building in New York, parts of Toyota's Woven City, which we will get to in part 2 of this series. A robot company, a volume home builder, and one of the most recognizable architecture firms in the world, all working on 100 suburban houses in central Texas. And I think that's the part that grabbed me first. Because in my day to day, when these three worlds, tech, builders, architects, try to talk to each other, there is a friction. Different softwares, different priorities, and different definitions of done. Wolf Ranch is what it looks like when those three worlds actually agree on something, which in this industry is rare enough to be worth a video on its own. The robots doing all of this is called Vulcan. It's a gantry style printer, basically a giant frame on wheels that rolls onto the lot, sets itself up, and starts printing. It's about 46 feet wide, stands about 15.5 feet tall, nearly 5 tons of equipment, and once it's positioned, it can print a structure up to 3,000 square feet without ever needing to move again. One operator, sometimes two, that's it. The material is called lavacrete. It's Icon's proprietary mix: Portland cement, sand, water, and a few additives. They mix it on a side and feed it through the nozzle. Once it's down, it's resistant to mold, resistant to water, resistant to fire. Strength tests have come in over 3 times what code requires. And because concrete holes heat slowly, the walls naturally help the house stay cool in the Texas summer. For each home, the foundation gets poured the traditional way. Then Vulcan rolls in. It works off a digital file, a 3D model that's been sliced into hundreds of layers, like an MRI scan in reverse. The printer follows the path, bed by bed, until the entire shell of the house is standing. From start to finish, the wall system for a single home takes about 3 weeks of print time. After that, human takes over again. Roofs, plumbing, electrical, finishes, all installed conventionally. Solar panels go on the roof. And this is the part I want to be honest about. Because if you read the headlines, you would think these houses are printed by robots. End of story. They are not. The walls are. Everything else is still built the way every other houses in America gets built. Framers, electricians, plumbers, drywallers, real people with real schedules and real change orders. What's actually the new is the wall. And the wall is enough because the wall is usually the longest, most labor heavy, most weather dependent part of the build. The full project is 100 homes, 8 different floor plans designed by big 3 and 4 bedroom layouts, single story, anywhere from about 1500 to a little over 2000 square feet. Prices today start just under $400,000 and go up to around 600,000. And I want to pause on those numbers for a second because when most people hear 3D printed home, they assume cheap. They assume 150 grand, 200 grand max. That's not what full French is. Icon has said that its 3D printed home can cost 10 to 30% less to build than conventional home. And Lennar reported the wall construction phase running roughly 30% faster. But there's the thing that I think doesn't get said enough. The very first homes in the Wolf Ranch came in slightly higher than the projected. Both companies have said it on record. The team was learning a system in real time. That's just what scaling a brand new construction technology looks like. The savings are real. The savings show up later in the next community, not the first one. There have been 3D printed buildings before Wolf Ranch, a house here, an office there, a pavilion at a design fair. But those were demonstrations, pilots, and proof of concepts. Wolf Ranch was the first time a fleet of robots built an entire community of homes, not as an experiment, but as a product, sold on the open market, listed on the MLS, owned by people with mortgages. That's a different category. Icon CEO Jason Bullard said something about it that stuck with me. He said, "For the first time in the history of the world, what we are witnessing here is a fleet of robots building an entire community of homes. And the reason that line lands isn't because of the robots, it's because of the word community. One robot, one house. That's a science fair. A fleet of robots and hundreds house, real residents. That's an industry." A few last things because Wolf Ranch isn't the end of this story. It's more like the early proof. First, Lennar has already announced a second 3D printed community about 7 miles away from Wolf Ranch. 200 homes this time, bigger floor plans, lower price points. Icon has next generation printer called Phoenix. They unveiled it in 2024. It's designed to print multi-story buildings, not just single-story homes, and to bring per square foot cost down even further. They have built a demonstration structure at their Austin headquarters. The first production homes printed with Phoenix haven't been delivered yet, but they are on the way. And third, the big one, the same company that printed Wolf Ranch has a $57 million contract with NASA. It's called Project Olympus, and it's developing the construction system that will eventually print the first human structures on the moon. Same core idea, robotic, additive, digital, just a different planet. The thing I keep coming back to about Wolf Ranch isn't the technology. I mean, the technology is impressive, but the technology is also obvious. Of course, we will print buildings. Of course, there will be more of them. What I keep thinking about is the people who live there. Somewhere in Georgetown, Texas, there is a kid right now who is going to grow up in a house with corduroy walls. They are going to think it's normal, the way we think drywall is a normal. And in 15 years, when that kid is in architecture school or engineering school or trade school, they are going to look at the way we build the things and it's going to seem old fashioned to them. That's the part I think about. This was part 1, already built. In part 2, we'll go from one neighborhood in Texas to one city in Japan, built at the foot of Mount Fuji, designed to test itself in real time, with real residents living inside the experiment. If you want to come along for that one, subscribe. I'm Vernit, real AI, real sites, real talk. See you in part 2.